Let's talk now about voice leading errors, and especially that is to say parallels, forbidden parallels in fourth species. We've already basically covered this, but I'd like to just show it a little bit more explicitly. Here's what we get if we chain two 9/8 suspensions. So what we're going to hear is a parallel, this connecting with this. Because remember, when the concept of a suspension, as you'll recall from Harmony 1, is that this note lasts too long. That this note doesn't really belong in this measure. This ought to have been the downbeat, but it got shoved over because this lasted longer. So it's really a lot like first species. And if we take that away, then these notes align and these notes align in first species. That's why we hear this connection of weak beat to weak beat, weak beat to weak beat, perfect intervals. Let's listen to this. So very clearly heard parallel octave. I think that's the same as what I just played in the earlier video. We can generalize this and say that anytime you have the same perfect interval on two consecutive weak beats, it's illegal if there's a dissonance in between. So two consecutive weak beats with the same perfect consonants, put a dissonance in between, that's not something you can do in fourth species. With a consonant in between, it can work out okay, so long as in most cases you don't chain it. Let's suppose that we change this from a dissonance into a consonant. I'm going to keep the same upper line, but now I'm going to put a G in my contu, so this becomes a 10th moving to an octave. Let me play it now. Sorry, I of course meant to change the counterpoint note as well. Play that. With the consonants in between, two consecutive weak beats with the same perfect consonants, so octaves in a row on weak beats. It's okay, because we haven't had the dissonance kind of emphasizing to us that what really counts is the weak beat. These you don't want to change so much. The book actually allows us to chain weak beat fifths with this kind of 6-5, 6-5 progression. I don't always think it necessarily works. I think it's something to be sensitive with. It can work. Here's what it sounds like at any rate. Even though you've got fifths on consecutive weak beats, with that consonance and especially the stepwise motion, making that not objectionable or not so objectionable. The last one I have a bit of a question mark about. Okay, so is there anything else? Sorry, my notes. There it is. Yes, there was one other thing I thought. So the other thing that I wanted to mention quickly, right, two other things actually. Okay, when we break into second species, you have to evaluate it as you would in second species, okay? So for, again, whatever portion is in second species follows second species rules, and you're familiar with those. Final thing to talk about here is the unison. Where can you use unisons? You can use unisons fairly freely. So long as you're in ties, you're free to use unisons on the strong beats, as long as you haven't broken species. Of course, if you break species, then there are no unisons on the strong beat in second species. But in ties, as the end of a consonant tie, a unison is just fine on a strong beat. Furthermore, a unison is okay on a weak beat, so long as it isn't the resolution of a dissonant suspension.